Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about how I use my FineTec watercolors, or I mean pretty much any watercolors that are metallic or pearlescent in nature. So for the artwork featured in this video, I used the pearlescent palette in what I believe to be Metals. I think that's the name of the palette. It's kind of a little bit confusing because their online, I guess, storefront isn't all that good, but I think that's what it's called. So the palette has 6 colors in it. It's copper, bronze, Olympic gold, Arabic gold, champagne silver, and silver. Which, by the way, is not actually silver, but we'll get into that. And I use the color Olympic gold for the artwork in this video. So I got these colors for Christmas last year, and I have been experimenting with them a lot. So there's a couple things that I've learned. I've heard really great things about them. I've heard that they're pretty much the best metallic watercolors you can get. And I think I've only ever tried one other brand of metallic watercolors, and that's Daniel Smith. And I agree, FineTec is actually a lot better. So I'm going to be discussing how I found to use them, and there's really kind of, I guess, four different categories here. So the first one here is large sections or large patches. I personally would kind of not recommend doing large patches with them. So the thing with these is that they're really opaque and they're really high coverage, but the thing with them is that you can't really shade on top of them. So anything that you need to shade, these probably won't be great for, just because they're so opaque, and once you add anything on top, the pigment lifts up. I think you can see it in my artwork here a little bit, because I tried going over it with some dark brown, and I tried shading it a little bit more, and the pigment started lifting up, and it kind of got a little bit too sheer and patchy for my taste. However, what I did do with these, or what I have done with these before, is kind of fill in the background of pieces. So basically anything that doesn't need any shading, these are pretty great with. Just in general, I wouldn't put anything on top of these. Obviously line art if you do line art, because yeah, they're so opaque, they will cover that line up right up. So then the next one is small patches. Small patches are fairly good. Again, if you don't need to shade them, that's great. It will work fine. I know you can use them to kind of imitate foiling. These are actually great to imitate foiling without having to, you know, invest in foiling equipment, I guess. So that's a way you can use them. Then the third way is details, and I feel like this is where they really shine, is if you do some line work on top, or some dots, or anything like that. This is where they're going to look best. And then also there is the possibility of using them in washes, so kind of diluting them and just using them as almost like a shimmer topper kind of thing. Personally, I don't think I've ever done that, at least not intentionally. There was this one time where I forgot to clean one of the brushes that I used with these, and I used them on a piece of artwork, and just the entire artwork was glittery and shimmery after that, which was not what I intended, but it didn't look, I guess it didn't look bad. But yeah, like I touched on earlier, the other brand of metallic watercolor that I've tried is Daniel Smith. I have the shade Iridescent Gold and Iridescent Moonstone. Both of these are good, but I think they're better for doing washes and using them on top of colors you've already put down. The Moonstone, not so much. I've only used that one once. I think that one has the possibility of becoming more opaque than the gold. the gold is definitely not something that will be opaque easily. I did also want to touch on some alternatives. If you can't find these or you don't want to buy them for any reason, I guess you could use acrylic, though it is gonna feel and behave a little bit differently. The other thing I was thinking is gouache. I don't actually know if there's metallic gouache. I know that there's metallic acrylic gouache, but again, that's gonna dry waterproof, so it's gonna be a little bit weird. I don't actually know if there's acrylic gouache, or I'm sorry, metallic gouache. That would be an interesting experiment too. Maybe I'll do that. And then obviously the other thing is foiling, or like, you know, working with gold leaf and stuff. Personally, I find that that stuff is really intimidating to me personally. I do have like a foiling pen that is supposed to imitate that, but I honestly can't really get consistent results with that. So I really do think that these are pretty much the best thing you can get if you want to add some metallic highlights to your watercolor pieces, or pretty much any piece. But yeah, so I do have some swatches here at the end. The top row is the palette that I was talking about, the what I believe to be the metals palette. As you can see, that last one isn't actually silver, it's just like a pearl. It just looks like a sparkly white, to be honest. All of these get opaque on their own. You don't have to use them over anything. The one thing I forgot to mention is that if you do large patches, you have to really let these soak. So basically just spray them with water, leave them for a couple seconds so that they can really like soak up and become almost like a paste. I have used these in large patches, obviously, and I do find that they can get a little bit patchy and a little bit uneven, but if you let them soak for long enough, they should be fine. And also, like, I guess work carefully, don't overwork the paint. But yeah, and then the second row, I only have two other FineTec colors. These are singles, so they're, you know, separate by themselves, they're not in the palette. And I believe they're both flip-flop colors, which is what they call their like duochrome, multi-chrome colors. So one of them is like a, I guess, copper / bronze to pink, and the other one is more of a blue to purple. But yeah, that's just what I found, and here is the finished artwork. I thought I would do some studies of Russian architecture, just because they use a lot of gold and like flashy architecture and flashy details. So I hope that this video was insightful. I am going to be doing a video on the Van Gogh metallic and interference colors, which come in a little, I think it's called a pocket box. It's basically just a palette that comes with a brush, and I'm going to be looking at those and making sure that they're just as good as the FineTec ones. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.